Let's go. Want to talk about, don't want to talk about, and then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything,
We're good.
everything was good on the way up. You didn't, no trouble finding the place.
Once I got the right address, it was pretty good. But
You'll have that. I don't know why, dude. So I used to have a shop in Randleman. It was on Main Street, and that's probably why. Main Street has all like. Have you ever been up this way?
no, this is
No?
the first time I've
First-
been up here. Yeah.
You're not missing a whole lot. It's this pretty small town, small country town stuff. So, but yeah, Main Street in Randleman was like when I was there. I really didn't plan on going anywhere else at that time. I hadn't been like on a flight, hadn't been out of the country, had no ambitions of doing anything
Gotcha.
else. Yeah, so it was like I was good. It was like I didn't want to do anything else. So that's probably why it's like embedded in my brain. 114 South Main. I'm surprised I didn't text that, to be honest.
You got the number right, though. So that's
Yeah,
good.
2027. So you can find it. And what about pulling around back? Did the GPS give you the...
Yeah, the GPS said around, like, it was showing
Really?
to go around back. And then I
That's
saw
cool.
the sign for premium films.
Well,
so-
normally that's what I'll say. I'll say
Yeah.
shoot between the two buildings, stay to the right, and follow the premium film sign.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Cool.
Cool.
What else? What's going on in Michael's world?
Just sticking stickers, trying
Yeah.
to get it all done. I mean, it's a
Do you go by Mike or Michael?
Michael.
Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try
And
to keep it separated between.
your dad,
my-
right?
my dad, Mike, yeah.
So Mike.
Yep.
That's funny because normally I'll so my neighbors are Rick and Ricky.
Mhm.
It's kind of the same thing, but I still call them both Ricky. But I'll say Big Ricky, and Big Ricky is, Ricky's dad,
Yeah.
but he's smaller than. It really don't make any sense. So I do the same thing with y'all when I reference y'all. I'll say Big Mike versus.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people do that too.
Yeah.
And it's just, we actually, at one point, we had four mics in the shop.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That was probably a nightmare.
Yeah. So I go by Michael, Mike goes by Mike, our production guy goes by Mikey, and then we had our social media guy who's Michael, but we just called him Quattro. So it
He's
was
number
just-
4.
Yep.
Fourth guy. That makes sense. So for anybody that doesn't know, before we get into that, how do you pronounce your last name?
Montemurro.
Montemurro.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm
It's fine.
gonna botch it up. I tried it earlier.
Just do your best.
I was. It's not very good. But I tried. I pulled it out earlier because I was like, I don't want to be the guy that has to ask how to say it because I feel like I've heard you say it before. But
Yeah, it's fine.
mine,
I've been dealing with it
yeah,
my entire life. So yeah.
like through school and
Yep.
stuff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What's the funniest one you've heard?
Um,
Because it's a pretty unique.
somebody called me Montenegro one time,
Ooh,
but that was like the country, and
Yeah.
I was just like, how did you even? But yeah, I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
there's been some funny ones,
Yeah.
or they just say it really fast. So
they try to skim
yeah,
through.
just skim through it.
Yeah. So mine being my last name being Decker. You know what I mean?
yeah,
There's another word that's really close to
Mhm.
that, and depending on how they do their D's, you know what I mean? So there was like a time period where I was like, really make sure you just get that bottom part of that D on there. Don't let's not leave anything open for misinterpretation there. So yeah, so it's a little different, but. So for anybody that don't know, what is the name of the shop? Where are you guys at, and what do you specialize in?
so we're Atlantic Wraps. We're in Indian Trail, North Carolina, right outside of Matthews. We do hand painted pinstriping, which is where the company started out. We do color change wraps, commercial wraps, paint protection film.
So Mike has been. I've seen Mike on the social media.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen him in some videos.
Yep.
So he broke out the old. What do you call it? It's a pinstripe, but he's been pinstriping and doing So that's still a thing. Like it's
Yeah,
not.
we have 3 technicians that are out on the road every day doing hand painted
No
pinstriping.
shit. I didn't realize that.
They're not using a brush like Mike does, because that's extremely hard to train somebody to
Sure.
do. But he did design and patent a tool to stripe with, and that's what they use out on the road every day.
So they're still painting,
Yep.
but. So what's the difference between doing is it like a freehand kind of? Is that what you're saying? Like you teach somebody how to freehand a stripe versus
so-
how does the tool work? I guess.
So the tool, it uses a magnet to lay like a guide line down, lay the magnet down, and it has a guide bar, and it runs through a track in the magnet, and it's just rolls the paint on. So it's all still hand painted.
Sure. I didn't know any of that though. I thought
Yeah.
Mike told me he made something like a slider or something, like I want to say it was like a oven mitt, but for his thumb or something. I don't know.
Oh, he was talking about because for at the beginning when it was just him striping, and that was kind of what led him to create the tool was he had people out there, he had helpers like helping prep cars and tear down cars and stuff like that, but he was out there striping every car with a brush, and so when it's 100 degrees outside and you're striping a black car out in the sun, he was having to like wrap towels around his hand because he's running his hand down the side of a car.
So is that another tool that he does, or is that
No, that was just.
So I completely missed it.
Yeah.
I missed it. I didn't realize that he had a track system though. I bet that thing's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So dealerships, that's a big thing for you guys?
Yes. Yeah.
Really? So that's another thing I didn't know.
Even with wraps, it's a big thing for us too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going in, you're doing the pinstriping stuff. So I didn't even really realize that was still a big thing. Like, yeah. So, and that system probably makes it a ton easier.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of training to still use it.
Really?
I mean, you can't just pick it up and just start
No, it's
just
not like
knocking
that.
them out. Yeah,
Okay,
but
cool. Do you do
there's-
it? Do you-
I don't. I mean, I did when I was a lot younger. Like, I didn't actually stripe the cars. I mean, I know enough to get myself into trouble with it.
Sure.
But I was out going around like writing invoices,
Gotcha.
cleaning, prepping cars and stuff like that since I was 14, 15 years old.
So he's, I think Mike told me one time, he's not from North Carolina, right?
No.
So New York.
Yep.
Moved down from New York. So have you always lived here? Or did you?
Yeah, I was born here.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So
My sister was born up in New York, and I'm the only one who was born down here.
how did he get into the dealership stuff?
So, I mean, he was doing a lot of, painted stripes and everything was a lot bigger
So
up north.
he's a painter.
Yeah, he had his own body shop.
Got it.
A lot like when he first started.
I won't
out in
tear you up
business.
with a ton of Mike questions.
You're
but
good. Yeah,
it's
I'm
kinda
sure
like
he'll
the
come out
beginning.
here and
Yeah,
kind of
I
talk about
wanted
everything
to.
too.
Yeah.
And like I said, he'll have a lot more information on all of that.
Sure.
And I mean, it's just me kind of telling stuff that he's
Sure.
told me
Yeah.
and things like that. But where were we at?
Sorry.
No, you're good.
It's so he moved down. You've always
Yes.
been here.
Yep.
He worked in a body shop
Mhm.
and he's always done that. So he's always been a body guy or worked in some sort of paint and body. That
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, so and then he decided to start learning how he basically taught himself how to stripe, and then was coming down here. One of his friends moved down here and was saying that like nobody's doing it. He would fly back and forth like every other week and try and get some accounts and get that set up, and then eventually they just pulled the trigger on moving down here,
Let's go.
and then now we're here.
That's cool.
So
So when he got here, it was like a dealership work was the
Yes, yeah.
business, yeah. And then, so that's cool that how long has it been business?
over 40 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How about the shop? How long have you been in the shop?
So the shop we're in now, we've been in since 2019.
Okay.
As far as in a shop space, it's been 2015, 2014.
Nice. And
Around
new
there.
shop is pretty sweet, right? Like I haven't
Yeah.
been down there, but I've seen pictures. I mean, them places.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah.
having our own building too is great. I mean, we've got our own parking lot. It's our own freestanding building. So
That's cool. So, and was it purpose built?
yes,
Yeah. So you guys set it up the way you wanted it, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we kind of. I mean, it's always you try to plan
Sure.
for where you're going to be 5-10 years down the line, and we kind of grew at a very rapid pace
Right.
and it took so long for us to get our building done too.
Sure, 2019 probably wasn't the best time to.
Well, we started the process in 2015 or 2016.
Oh, wow.
And it took there was
forever.
there was a lot involved with it.
But I've heard some horror stories. Well, we were talking about Jim earlier,
Mhm.
like Jim building his building through the pandemic. that was a nightmare.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
There was somebody else that was just telling me that too, that where their pricing like quadrupled.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Bruce, I said, Bruce, we got a friend of mine. He owns a tent shop in Greensboro, and he just added, doing printed wraps, color. I mean, he's been into the color change space for a little bit longer than the printed stuff. Anyway, he added that part of it to his business, so he bought another building, had all these great plans, laid them all out. Pandemic hit. He's like, and we got talking about it the other day. He was like, I've got enough to pave my back lot. He said, but when I initially did the loan, it was enough to build the entire building. Yeah. He said, so essentially it just cleared a lot and put concrete on it, and that's all.
That's crazy.
Ain't that crazy? Yeah. It's nuts. So you from that angle, I guess you guys, it's perfect timing then.
Yeah. So our shop is it's 8,000 square feet.
Nice.
And we had a separate. We partitioned the building so that we had, I think it's around 2,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. That we were planning on, like I said, when we had all the plans for the building and everything drawn out, like we were like, we're not going to use all of this space, so it was an option. We partitioned it. We thought we were going to maybe rent it out or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
And after we finally got moved in, we were like, we shouldn't have even put this wall up.
Tear it down. Tear the wall.
We left it separated. We did cut a doorway from our vinyl install shop into that area, and that's now all paint protection film, which is nice, having a cleaner environment. That door is not open and closed nearly as much as the main shop as far as getting commercial vehicles in and out and everything. So it all worked out really well.
Yeah. So you said that you guys are doing a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. So paint protection film, wraps, you're doing color change and commercial wraps. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. That's a lot of moving parts.
Yep. So we do. We have a designer on staff. We have two in our production team. Print and lamination capabilities, so everything can be done in house, which is nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
Especially when it comes to like the occasional, if something does go wrong on install, you're not sending out trying to order another print, things like that.
What kind of printer?
We have 3 Roland VG series printers, and then we have a Graphtec cutter for paint protection film. Nice. We have a Suma for just standard vinyl and everything.
Nice. So, Dad started the business. Mm-hmm. When'd you come in?
So, I came in really when we started doing wraps, and so it was one of those things. Like I always knew that I was gonna be involved somehow. Mm-hmm. It's always just been a passion of mine, and just trying to get involved and trying to do something.
Sure.
So, I mean, going back to like...
Did the timing just work out right where he's adding wraps and you're interested?
I mean, so he started out doing pinstriping and hand lettering because like everybody was getting things like hand lettered.
Sure, the dealership thing, right? Like you could go in, you would pinstripe a car, and then you could write,
Well, he wouldn't really do anything like on the windows and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like for companies, for like where you do commercial graphics and things like that.
Okay.
Now,
like Coca-Cola or something like that.
Yeah. So he was doing hand lettering on vehicles, and then when vinyl plotters and everything started coming out, nobody really wanted to pay for hand lettering anymore.
Sure.
And so it was a adapt or die kind of situation.
Sure.
And so he got into that. He didn't feel like at that point in time when like wraps were first starting to come out that it was going to be something he wanted to get into. Right. And then now it was 2013. Yeah, it was 2012 or 2013. And he came up to me. He's like, so your spring break's next week, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't have any plans. All of my friends were going to the beach, and sure. I don't really. Somehow I got left out of those plans.
Sure.
And he was like, cool. We're gonna go to Kansas and learn how to wrap cars, and if it's something you want to do, then we'll run with it. So
that's cool.
I mean, I was 17 or 18 at the time.
So you were in school?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yep.
So you were in high school.
Yep.
And Mike was like, "Look, we're headed to Hutchins. Let's do this."
Yep.
thing."
So
Who was your instructor?
Ray,
Yeah,
yeah, he was awesome.
yeah, Ray's
He's a
good
great
stuff.
guy.
Yeah,
But
he's still hanging in there too.
yep,
still rocking.
he's still there.
Yeah,
But so we went there, did the training, and I loved it.
yeah,
And yeah, so I'm extremely grateful for, I mean, having that fall into place, being in a spot where that was even an opportunity.
sure.
And so we did the training, came back, and I was wrapping everything. I mean, so
Sounds like 3M training was a big part of your start. That's good. Just note that.
so but yeah, that HHR bumper was fun.
Dude, it was gnarly, right?
Oh yeah.
I talk to people
Bring it
about that
back.
all the time, man. Or you remember like the mosaic, having to cut out all the brick stuff? Did you have to do that?
Cut all the.
So it was a textured wall wrap, but you had to go back and cut the mortar joints out of the brick.
We didn't have to cut the mortar joints
No,
out of the
that
brick.
sucked.
I don't remember that at least.
Do they
but
have the non-airy grass corrugated?
yes.
That sucked too.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a toughie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So-
the HHR was pretty tough all over. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
they
the
had
rear
that-
quarter.
Yeah, the rear quarter was.
And we
tough.
did the when it was the pop open a can of wrap design with the ice, so you couldn't see anything.
nothing. The front bumper was
Yeah.
just that was rough.
At least it was only half of it.
True, that's true. And it was
But-
yeah, it was a lot. That
Yeah.
thing sticking out of the front, man,
Yep.
that's a tough route.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't the way that I'd done it when I tested. I wouldn't do it that way today.
Yeah. As far as long term, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was not. It was tough. Camaro's cool though. The way it's done now is
Mm-hmm.
good. I
Yeah, I've seen some videos, social media,
Yeah.
just some training stuff, but
yeah.
yeah, those Camaros aren't easy either. So I mean,
And the mirrors. So
Yeah.
the mirrors at Mully's are a little different than the ones they use at St. Paul. The one they use at St. Paul, those things are pretty challenging. I just did a set not long ago.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, those ones. Those ones are
Mhm.
tough. But this is like that part, the mirror part that comes out. It comes right out.
hmm
I didn't know that. It's so easy. Took like 4 seconds. Popped it right out.
The glass.
Yeah,
mirror
the glass. Yeah, and it's got a couple of electrical. I'm sure one's for heat, and then one's probably for
Yeah,
moving.
for turning the mirror. Yeah.
Mhm.
But so we went and we did that training,
Mm-hmm.
and we came back, started kind of taking on smaller jobs
Sure.
at first. This was when we were back in our first office space. So like the business was completely operated out of our house to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
when it was just pinstriping, and I can still hear we had a Suma DC3 printer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like right down from my bedroom. I could still hear that thing changing ribbons in the middle of the night.
Yeah. that's
So, but so we got an office space.
So
and we
your
started-
first printer was a ribbon printer?
Yeah.
No way. That's cool.
And so that was before we did any like wraps or anything like that. It was mainly
And
for
it was
banners.
It
and
was a
stuff.
Suma.
Mhm.
We had a Roland that was a ribbon printer set up, and it was it looked like a 24-inch plotter. Is that how yours was?
This one,
Or however big, but it looked like
Yeah.
a plotter,
yeah,
like
well,
a roll plotter or whatever.
it didn't really look like a plotter. I mean, it was all enclosed.
Wasn't it? What'd you say?
We still have it. Suma DC series.
Josh, can you pull up a Suma DC series? I'm just curious now because the one we had was actually pretty cool. It was a Roland,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked like like just a regular 24-inch plotter, but on the back, so it had like a hood on it, or like a
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it'd flip
Mhm.
up and you plug in your cartridges
Yep.
on the back, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, but that thing was loud though.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Ju-
Especially every time it would change a ribbon. It would on the track and everything.
for some reason when you said it, I imagine the
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty big,
Yeah. That's a DC4, but yeah.
huh? That's a ribbon printer. That's so
Yep.
funny because when I think of a ribbon printer, I think of that little 24-inch machine that we had.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they had them that big. That's a big piece of equipment.
Yeah. That's they got bigger with the newer series that they came out with.
Sure.
But this was back when they were. I can't remember the exact size. It was like 39.5 inches
But
or
same
something like
similar
that. That's the
setup?
only material that would fit in it.
Sure.
Like, so you had to order from them and stuff. But
But similar setup.
yeah.
Yeah.
Looks pretty much exactly like that.
Cool.
But yeah, we'd have that. We were printing just decals, banners, things like that. And
No plotter.
we still have cannot remember the brand for the life of me now, but we still have the very first plotter that Mike bought.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's in our shop in storage, which I don't think we'll ever get rid of it at all. I mean, at this point.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Hold on to, yeah.
But it's really cool. I mean, we still use that for... we were using that thing like in 2013, 2014.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
That thing did not stop at all.
So
But-
normally when I hear about those, it's a Gerber. That's how I always hear like the Gerber and the Gerber Edge.
I think it may have been a Suma as well.
Yeah,
But so just doing small stuff. We wound up, there was like a little garage space at that office that was like completely separate, and it was nothing at all that I would say like, oh yeah, we're gonna install out this today. But we made it work, and we were doing some small stuff there. Just, one thing I vividly remember was the Camaro hood stripes, where it has that 1/4-inch gap in the outline. Doing that, and so we did some small stuff. Then we decided, if we're gonna really get into doing wraps and doing more of the stuff, that we need to find a spot that we can.
I bet striping something like that would be like, if I was a pinstriper, like thinking about having to do that with vinyl would probably be aggravating as hell. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I could just see Mike just being like, I'll just put these center stripes and then I'll just run my own or something. I don't know. In my head, I think that makes more sense.
So I mean, with his background, with that, like running lines or tape lines for racing stripes and stuff. I mean, it's been very helpful, and then just kind of being around that too.
Yeah.
And like running if you need to like trim something because you had to run a tape line.
He's got to have a steady hand.
But yeah, and then that kind of translated into what I do too. So I mean, some of the guys are like, how are you running knifeless tape so quick? And it's just like, I mean,
just been doing it.
Yeah, just been doing it.
Yeah.
But so we got a shop space.
Primarily dealership work.
We do a lot of like courtesy shuttles for dealerships, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
We actually started doing a lot of color changes for dealerships too.
Nice.
Which was good.
Now,
little
you're
bit-
talking now.
Well, we do now too.
Yeah.
But
Even back
we
then?
did a lot more. Probably like 2016, 2018 around there.
Pre-pandemic.
Yes. Yeah. Pre-pandemic. A lot of Audis, Hondas, stuff like that.
Did you, or even now, like, are you doing much PPF, like wear and tear stuff? Do you mess around with that any, or?
We don't. I mean, a lot of that stuff they're doing in-house a lot. But we do a lot of work for body shops, for body shop repairs, for PPF, things like that. PPF has become a very large part of our business too.
Yeah.
So
Where do you stand on that? Like, do you like it? Do you
so
prefer
when I
that?
started doing it, just after installing vinyl and everything, trying to make that switch, it wasn't fun, being honest.
Sure.
I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated installing it, and he just kept being like we can like, you need to just give it a chance, just try it out. And I was like, I'm squeegeeing it down and it's not staying, and it's driving me nuts. So we did a lot of like partial front ends, things like that. Bunch of full front ends. I think.
Josh, do you remember that feeling when we were doing race cars? When we first started nose carding race cars? That was the freaking worst, man. It was like, you'd get around, it'd look like $1 million, and then all of a sudden it was just like pulled
creeping
back. Yeah,
yep.
It was like, what in the world is going on? So, yeah.
Or there's that like one part on the bumper where it's like
Yeah,
a
you
little
just-
recess, and
yeah.
you keep squeezing it, and it's just popping up. I mean, now knowing,
Sure.
I mean, you have to just approach it differently.
Yeah.
And
Did you do any training for PPF?
I did the Scotch guard training. That's the only. I think that's the only real formal training for PPF that I've had.
They did it down at Star Shield. Is that where you done it? Yeah. I went and took that class a long time ago. It was a pretty cool class.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah.
It was like 2014, 2015, around there too.
Yeah,
So,
that was a cool. I don't know. I don't know if they're still there. Do you?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
But I remember in its time that it was like, it was a cool thing to know that they were right down there, and you could just slide down there and take a class.
Yeah.
And it was always a resource. And
And being pretty local too.
yeah.
But I remember in that training, the trainer, I can't remember his name. He was walking around and he's like, I see a lot of vinyl squeegees in here.
Yeah, he knew.
But yeah,
He knew.
so, but yeah, and we moved out of that first office space, had a shop, it's 1,200 square feet, could fit our production stuff, our printer. We had to roll into that time.
Gotcha.
And we could
Printer.
fit like,
So you guys were, so yeah, I guess from the Suma, you upgraded to the Roland, but you're still just digging. I mean, you're still producing graphics the whole time.
yeah. And so, but I mean, Suma, like that printer, it's a great printer, but if you're trying to print on vinyl and then have something you're gonna have to stretch, like that print's just gonna crack.
Yeah.
So it wasn't what we needed for installing vinyl.
Did you ever try?
Oh yeah, of course. Of course we tried.
You had to. We went through this time period. It seemed like everybody had a UV printer. You know what I mean? And they were all printing with UV inks, and it was just like we fought with it and fought with it and fought with it. And they were like, "No, these guys told us this will work," and it's like, I don't know, dude. Like we're doing everything we can to make this work, and it's just not working. And we had these ones where it was like you'd see them a lot on fleet projects, and you'd do your rivets out, you'd have your rivets all set and everything, and you heat them, and they would just kind of like shake a little,
and
then just hold. Yeah,
Yep.
and it's like, what is this? Like, it's the worst.
So it's actually I do have a kind of funny story. We moved into that second shop, and I was young. I did go to college.
Okay.
I didn't finish college, but so I'm kind of going back and forth because we weren't up to the point where we were doing enough wraps like every single day. So I was in school and kind of coming back and forth when I wasn't in class, and it was like summer. I think it was the summer. Yeah, it was summer. It was actually before I went off to college. I was just being a dumb kid. I was showing up to the shop late, and my dad comes up to me. He's like, all these guys that work here all show up earlier on time. He's like, you cannot show up late. I was like, okay. He's like, the next time you show up late, he's like, I'm fucking firing you.
Oh, well.
I was like, all right. And I showed up. I think I was like 2 minutes late, and he fired me.
Oh.
And this was, again, at the time where we were still kind of getting into the wrap industry and getting everything going. And someone had said something about this shop that was looking for an installer, and I reached out to them and got an interview and went out there. And this is when I met Sam.
Horner.
Sam Horner from when he was working at Red Eye.
Well, side note here, the neighbor over here came by the other day. And
Yeah, he told me he was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like, he
Yeah.
was literally next door. I didn't know that.
Because he actually, we use him every now and then
Okay.
when we're getting backed up and stuff. And
Sure.
he was at our shop 2 weeks ago, and he was
Nice.
like, you know who I almost ran into?
Well, that's what I think his name's Kevin. He owns the sign shop next door, and he said, "Yeah, man, I got a pretty good helper, from down towards Baden Lake." And I'm like, "If he's an installer, I probably know him. What's his name?" He's like, "Sam Warner." Yeah. I'm like, dude, what are the chances that Sam's doing work for my neighbor?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
crazy how small the world is
It
sometimes.
really is crazy.
So I went out and I did kind of like a working interview with him, like semi. I mean, obviously, young kid coming in there.
Sure.
I went to 3M training, and they're like, all right, like, we don't know if we really want you, like, wrapping some of our customer stuff, because they do a lot of large fleet and NASCAR stuff and everything. I think
Red
he was
Eye.
working on it. Yeah.
So you went and interviewed at Red Eye.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's
So
funny as
actually,
hell.
I worked there. So I wound up getting a job there.
Get out of here.
And I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, I started there, and
That's so funny.
we go.
So you know
and-
Jim and Michelle?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
I haven't talked to them in a very long time, but
I gotcha.
yeah, they were good.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
it
they're
was
great.
It was a great time working there.
Sure.
A lot of learned a lot of stuff there too. So
Yeah. Good people.
yeah. But I didn't know exactly like how much stuff they did, right?
Sure.
So, and I know they did a lot. They were doing all Hendrick stuff, and so I call my dad, and I'm like, he's like, "What's up?" I was like, "Guess where I'm at." He's like, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm at Hendrick Motorsports repping Jimmy Johnson's race car." He's like, "What the hell?" So
They don't mind if I'm 2 minutes late either. Yeah.
no, I learned my lesson on that. Trust me. And ever since then, I can't stand being late.
Sure.
So, but
That's funny.
so we were there, and they do tours
Sure.
of the shop and everything. So I'm very new, and I mean I know my way around a little bit and installing. And here comes a tour of 50 people, like looking over your shoulder as you're wrapping this car, and I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So ever since that day, though, I mean, I don't care if anybody watches me install it.
Right.
Just that kind of just got all of that out of my system as far as being nervous or anything like that.
So when I talk to people about shows, that's like, I'm like, dude, you can't even imagine. I was like, working at SEMA or any of these shows is nothing compared to being at Hendrick. Because you get, like you said,
it's intimidating.
Yeah.
100%.
If it's race week, if it's Charlotte, they're bringing 50 people in, every other hour. And they're right up. I mean,
they're right up on you.
Yeah, they don't care. They'll
what are you doing?
Yeah, like, oh, what is that in there? What is that? Is that? And then, dude, we've had them to come up and want to touch it. They'll be like, oh that's nice. It is sticky. It does stick right to it, don't it? And it's like, that's what it is.
Don't touch it.
It's pretty wild. For a while, they were putting this. So back then, they had like the observation. Like the big glass, big glass windows, and they'd put you right in front of the windows, and so it wouldn't just be the tours; it would be anybody that came through the damn thing. They would just stand there, and a lot of the shop guys they liked it because it took all the attention off them, because you got a 20-foot panel and you're ripping the backing off of everybody goes crazy. They're like, oh, what's going on?
That's not painted.
So that's on a real headlight. What is that? What's going on? I just added some new cars to my collection. Pretty happy about it. So Ken was giving me a hard time. I told him that I wanted a championship ring because I was there for 4 championships, and we were there like more than like most of the team. You know what I mean? Because if you think about like Hendrick Motorsports as a whole, you got like 600 employees. If you boil it down to like, all right, 4 race teams, like who actually works on the car, it's only a handful of people, maybe 10 or 12 people, maybe like max. And then you cut those in half, like the real core guys that are working on the car every day, not engineers, like guys that are hands-on with the cars. Yeah. There's only a few, really, and it's like, so if you looked at what we were doing, like we were kind of a big part of it. You know what I mean? Like, and we're there.
So were you working like at Hendrick, or
at
were
Hendrick every day? We had from 2013 to 2022. I think was the last season that we were in there. We may have, I think it was 22 was the last season we were in there. Yeah,
that's funny.
Pretty much every.
How you ran into each other
I know.
all the way back.
I know.
That's crazy.
That's why I said that. It's crazy. I didn't realize that you worked for Red Eye.
Yep.
So something happened. I think Sam just got pissed, and because if it's so much work. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable how much work goes to those places. In the grand scheme of things, Red Eye's, I don't want to say small, but like. When you think about like motorsports or TDS or some of these others that are doing, 4 or 5 teams, like that's a lot of freaking work. Yeah. It's a ton.
On top of anything else that you're getting from national accounts, things like that.
That's why I say.
I remember we did like when Red's Apple Ale was a big thing. We did all of that stuff. You remember the football?
100%.
The trailer.
I think that was that was the straw that broke the camel back.
I don't know exactly what happened with him.
I think he was
so
like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I think he was like, I'm not doing it anymore, and checked out. And we just happened to get the phone call. You know what I mean? Like it was Dustin knew Jim, and that was all it took. He called him. We went in. But I remember football.
Yeah.
I actually just got a reminder the other day. Hell did I post that? Josh, see if you can pull up my I think I got a video of it. It's pretty
of the football?
Of the football, yeah.
The thing is, even just seeing pictures of it though, like it doesn't compare to seeing that thing in person because It's a
Yeah.
lot bigger than it
And it
looks.
opens, like
Yep.
clamshells open and everything.
Wasn't there like a TV in it or something?
Yeah.
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 We just were doing this trailer, or you know Cameron Rose.
Cameron Rose.
He's an installer, contractor. He, kind of like the rest of us, just gypsies, really, just floating around. But Cameron, he was doing a trailer for the guys that do. What do they do? They do, like, they have the Dodge contract, and they do a lot of like activations for marketing programs and stuff like that. It's just pretty big. Let's just call it, it's probably a 30-foot box, but it had a TV. That thing had to be, I don't know, 20 foot wide, 20 foot tall. It's like a whole DJ booth. Like the trailer folds open and like this whole thing.
Is that the one? There was one that we did at Red Eye. It was like a trailer.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm a pretty big guy. I mean, not just my muscles. Like I'm
Take
tall.
it easy.
But that's huge.
Uh-huh.
That's a big football.
So, but it was like a mobile, like it was a bar, like a mobile bar.
Oh yeah.
On the trailer.
Yeah.
Having to do all the stuff on that too.
Like the seats fold
Yep.
up and everything.
Yeah.
It's some cool stuff,
Yeah.
man. Like that's so funny though that you went to work for Red Eye, because I
have a picture on my personal Instagram. But it was the first color change wrap that I did, and it was at Red Eye. It was a black Hummer H2 that we wrapped 3M matte black.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So
And you go back and look at it, and it's just it's funny to like see how you do things differently and everything like that.
Right.
Like, I mean, it was just minimal removals, stuff like that. And
yeah, my first contract. No, it was my second contract job. So I went out and did a job for this guy at Revolution Decals, and it was tough. It was a loose decal package on a mixer for a like concrete mixer.
oh, those are fun.
And well, it was for Zebra, I think was the name of, like, Zebra Chemicals or something like that. And they had a certain way that they wanted like all the striping to hit it took me forever, dude. I was like, God, just beat me up. But that afternoon I was walking out, and as I was walking out, there was another wholesale printer walking in, and he was like, "Hey, do I know you?" And he was thinking I worked there, so he's just trying to hit me with a sales pitch real quick, And I was like, "I don't think you know me, but I'm Scott. If if you're in the printing business, you ever need anything installed?" He was like, "Yeah, I do. Right now, are you interested?" And I just got my head beat in by this mixer truck, and I was like, I was hungry. I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
I had to go do an H2, and they printed horizontal panels down the side, and it was miserable, dude.
Yeah.
It's still wrapped. It sits. It's still wrapped, dude, and it looks horrendous.
Oh,
Not necessarily from an installation.
no,
standpoint.
just I mean, how long has it been?
Nah, from an installation standpoint, it looked
Oh, it
terrible.
did?
It was not my best work. I'm gonna be honest. But I think they had the caps on the hood. You know what I'm talking about? They had those caps, and I was like in an abandoned warehouse.
When you think you're getting close to being done, there's 15 more pieces.
Little things, yeah. God,
Yeah.
it sucked. It was tough.
Yeah.
But Red Eye's picky, man. They're tough. Jim, he doesn't. Yeah,
He doesn't mess around.
he don't mess around. As far as like production though, like
Their production capabilities are insane.
insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like some of his like striping packages and just like him like using the pen tool to like center lines, level lines, like it's top notch.
Yeah.
As far as setups are concerned, he's probably one of the best setup guys I've ever seen. He kills.
Yeah.
He kills it for sure.
I remember we had our schedules when I was there like down to the hour for the day too. So that was crazy.
So do you remember Danny?
Yes.
So Danny, that job Cameron was doing was for Danny works for that company now.
Danny was he was in production, right?
Production,
Print guy.
Yeah. And he's another one. Like he was a machine, dude. He kept up with everything.
Oh yeah.
Like, he would take notes on like, if he got a really good print. He took notes anyway, but like he would note the fact that okay, this was a really good print. This was the humidity. This was the temperature, and like he had notebooks full of like every print. It's insane. He's a badass. He really is.
But no, it was great working there, and I mean, it was we kind of talked when I did start working there that it wasn't going to be something long term,
Right.
And I know, and I mean, it just kind of another one of those things. Like it happened to work out. I was very grateful for for being able to be there too,
Sure.
and getting to work on a lot of really cool
It was a
things.
cool
So,
experience,
yeah, it was
right?
awesome.
Like, so
Yeah.
are you into racing and cars and that sort of thing?
I mean, not so much NASCAR, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't
but-
expect you to be as into it as me, right?
Yeah.
This is a little bit obsessive, but
Yeah, you might want to talk to somebody about that.
tone it back.
Yeah.
It really wasn't this bad before. It was Ken. I'm telling you, Ken came in and he was like, why don't you have a ring? And I'm like, I look at him every once in a while. He's like, buy it. I was like, I don't know. It's like $2,000. He's buy it. I'm like, dude, I don't know. So I'm starting small. I'm like,
There you go.
yeah. So like some of the cars that are like that meaningful to me, I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, I'm gonna pick those up. So he gave me he does the RTR stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he brought me an RTR car.
Oh, that's
so,
awesome.
So it's his fault. That's where this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then some like smaller.
No, I mean, I genuinely not knocking it at all.
Sure,
I mean, I think it's cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I
it's-
got it. One of my buddies is like super into diecast, like really into like dirt
Yeah.
racing. Has a ton of that stuff.
Really?
Like an entire building full.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's pretty crazy.
Well, the dirt racing world just lost Scott.
I know.
Bloomquist, dude.
Yeah, I
That's
heard about
huge.
that.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I watched a video on the way here where he was talking about flying that plane that he wrecked in or crashed in, and he was talking about how like he's like, yeah, if it gets too bad, I just jump out of it. Yeah, and he didn't have his license. He just
jeez.
like it's his property.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way he felt about it. Like,
Yeah.
and him and his dad I think built planes. So they have like a whole barn full of planes that they would just take and fly around the farm.
That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like a 4-wheeler. That's kind
Yeah,
of the
right.
way they treated it. Like, yeah, we'll just go hop in a plane and cut some laps and come back. And, I just imagine I could do that with a 4-wheeler, but doing it with a plane,
Yeah.
it'd be a different story. But
Yeah, but
Anyway.
that's sad though.
I know, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's, me and Josh were talking about, he just won that race on 3 tires. Did you see that?
No, like I said, I don't really keep
Oh,
up
you're not a
with
dirt guy.
with
Okay.
racing that
Your
much.
buddy
But
is.
one of my buddies, yeah,
I gotcha.
yeah, but
We almost
yeah.
went down a road on dirt racing there for a second.
Yep.
You about got me excited. I was like, I thought we found it, but
I'm sorry.
that's all right. But you're into cars, though.
Yes, yeah, I've always been into cars.
Yeah, you
And-
said earlier you were at Cars and Coffee.
Yep, yeah. So we sponsor Cars and Coffee Concord. It's at the
Nice.
Speedway.
Do you go and set up? You got like a
Yeah, we got a tent that we set up. We always
Nice.
ask some of our customers to come out with work that we've done. We had a 1937 Ford that we wrapped.
That's
Yeah, that was that's on our Instagram and stuff too. It's actually the second time that we've wrapped it.
Do you not want to tell Josh to pull it up?
You can pull it up.
Yeah,
Yeah, pull it up, Josh.
yeah. Josh, can you pull up that 19? What was it?
19. It's a 1937 Ford.
1937 Ford.
It's a little ways back, but yeah, I mean, that's probably the most difficult car that I've ever wrapped.
Really? Front fenders,
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The roof is completely, it's a bubble. It comes down into the cowl under the windshield all in one piece.
I think Josh had to wrap one that was like this big one. I swear. It's like a model car of it, like a model version of it.
Yeah, but it was fun. I mean, we wrapped it the first time.
Not comparing it. I wouldn't compare it to you. It's probably yours is probably way harder.
I'm sure it's all relative.
Yeah.
But
Took him 2 days.
this one took me 2 tries, so it's a lot more material. But
That's cool though. So Cars and Coffee, do they get a pretty good crowd there?
oh, it's huge now
Where's it at?
at the Speedway.
At the Speedway,
yeah, in
yeah.
Concord. Yep.
So at Charlotte Motor Speedway or
Yep,
the
at
drag
Charlotte
strip? Okay.
Motor Speedway.
I know
yeah.
they do a lot over the drag strip. They'll have like events and stuff.
Yeah,
out there
that's
and
where
stuff.
they had wasn't Streetcar Takeover. But
It's
it was
something like
something
that,
like that.
yeah.
Which they do a lot of events out there. But yeah, I mean the parking lot like right there in front of the Speedway
Yeah.
is completely full every
Really?
time. Then they have 2 spectator lots that are always full. It's pretty crazy.
You get work from it?
We get a couple good leads every time. I mean,
Nice.
it's definitely worth it, and it's good exposure to be out there, and
Yeah.
and it's fun talking to everybody, seeing everything. Plus, since the Speedway puts it on, and HendrickCars.com is a sponsor as well, so
That's
they
cool.
they always bring out some crazy stuff from
Yeah.
Rick Entert's collection too. Like
That's cool.
they had the Hennessy. Can't remember the exact model of the car, but it was a Hennessy car. Well, their newer one, the silver one has the red H on the fenders. Yeah, they brought that out today. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, we've done a bunch of those, man. They went through this whole tear where they got like I don't know how many Copo Camaros or whatever.
Oh yeah.
There was like a ton of those things just
Yeah.
floating around the shop. I think they were doing something. Maybe it was like a Hendrick version of it or something.
Well, he has a ton of them in his collection
Oh,
too.
it's unreal. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I mean. Like he's
Yeah.
yeah.
Because we when I was at Red Eye, we installed the perforated graphics on the office glass in that lobby of the Heritage Center. That was cool. That was
The
a lot of
Heritage
fun.
Center's sick.
It's insane.
It's sick. That's another thing. Like I don't think I've ever met anybody else that's ever been in there that like I could talk to about it.
Mm-hmm.
But like trying to describe that to other people,
Mm-hmm.
like it's so
That conference table too.
everything.
Yeah, it's just wild.
Every time I went in there, it was
Yeah.
something new. You know, like there's like a Rocky Balboa gloves on the wall and Elvis Presley jumpsuit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I remember. So it was when like the C7 Corvettes were first coming out. It was when they first came out with the convertible, and so we went in there and he had like VIN number 1 of
right.
both of them just sitting out in the front.
He's got a whole row of
Yeah.
number 1s in there.
Yeah, it's
Like
crazy.
Corvette Alley or whatever.
Yep.
It's just nothing but number 1s. Somebody was telling me that it's got something to do with his grandkids, maybe. So he buys like number 1 hardtop, number 1 convertible, and then there's another number 1 that he buys, maybe like an automatic versus a manual or something. But yeah, he'll buy like the first 3.
Yeah.
You remember the Acuras?
The NSX.
Yeah, he
Yep.
bought the first 2 of those.
Yep.
That was pretty crazy. Yeah, he's just his car collection's a whole nother level.
It is.
That's like I said, most people don't understand that. Like, I guess a lot of people even really getting your head wrapped around him being a billionaire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the first time that we wrapped it. That was Oracal, Telegray and Gloss Dark Gray, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to hide a seam on that fender, so we just didn't.
So we were just like, nah, we're not going to do it. No, you couldn't have.
Yeah.
Golly, I bet that was tough.
Yeah, I mean it's been a project both times that we did it. We probably had it in the shop a lot longer than I wanted to, but I didn't, like, especially on that car. Like, I did not.
Is there multiple pictures of that, Josh? Can you?
Yeah, there's the arrow on the picture on the right of the picture. Yeah, right. Yeah.
The color looks pretty good.
Yeah, and that entire car is primer. We did jams and everything on it too. Yeah.
Of course you did.
Well, he came to us and he's like, I've never had a car wrapped. I want to see what it's all about and what my options
So
are.
that's what he picked first to get his first car wrap, was that?
Yep.
No way.
And so because he got all the body work done, got everything ready, and then he was going to get a paint job. And what year was that in? Does it say on the post? But the cheapest quote that he got for painting that car was $25,000.
Damn.
So
So he was looking at it as not necessarily as a benefit to get it right. He was looking for a more affordable option.
He was looking for a more affordable option, and then we quoted it all out, and he's like, I can wrap the car a couple times before I even get to that. So if I'm not set on a color.
2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we just rewrapped that car this year, I think. Yeah.
What color did you go with?
So we did APA. It was the first time I used APA too. We did the satin lunar rock and dark olive. So the top was the dark olive, and then the rest of the car was the lunar rock.
What'd you think of APA?
Interesting film.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a little difficult to work with, especially on a vehicle like that.
Sure.
Post heat temperatures different. Just
Is it higher? The post-heat temperature was it?
I'm pretty sure. I don't remember the exact. I know I looked it up when we were doing it. I don't remember exactly what it is now.
He just remembered it was different.
Yeah. I mean, it felt kind of.
Is that it?
That's it.
Was that before, or is that the new one?
That's the new one because that's at our new shop.
Oh, okay. It's relatively.
And that
close.
car actually does have a EcoBoost 2.0 turbo in it.
That's cool. Does he have other cars, or is this just his? This is his plate. This is his toy.
This he has some other cars. He does custom exhaust work. He's an older guy. He
Gotcha.
a really nice guy, and I mean it was fun to work on for sure. It's definitely there's a video of us installing it on there too, I think.
Yeah. I like your videos. Really all your social
Yeah, it's
media.
that top right. Yeah.
You're building the whole thing is just, it's cool. Looks like you got a good crew too.
Yeah, our crew's gotten a little bit smaller, but which is fine. But I mean, we have a really really good group of guys right now.
Yeah. You're so photogenic, man. I'm telling you, you look great on camera.
So,
what kind of camera are you guys using? I don't know. It's a camera.
It's a Sony.
Yeah.
But so we,
Good
I mean,
videos.
I'm, like I said, I'm really grateful for the team. We got a lot of young guys. So trained a lot of guys from the start, which is nice.
Yeah.
Not having to worry about
Teach them what you want to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not having to undo bad habits, things like that. Sure. And I think the benefit too is they're really eager to learn. They want to be able to do it and do it on their own without having to ask 500 questions all the time. So,
Well,
which is go ahead.
Oh, well, you hit on a little bit. I wanted to ask before we get too far away from it, but your dad fired you.
Yes.
How has that been? How has that being the boss's son? How's that been?
So it's been interesting. I feel like to some extent that some people could see it as like, oh, I didn't have to really work for where I'm at.
Sure.
But
I mean,
it
you got
has
to come in whenever the hell you wanted to.
yeah.
Just leave whenever you want to.
No, but it's been. I mean, I always wanted to never have anybody to have any ground with a statement like that.
Sure.
So I've always worked my ass off to just be the best installer I could be, to be just like, again, just not having any ground in any statement like that.
Sure.
And so I think it kind of led to me being, I guess you could say, I was a little bit of a hard ass with the work that comes out of the shop. Sure. Like but when we started doing wraps and really got into it, like that was what I was bringing to the business.
Got it.
And so that was like what I was passionate about and what I still am passionate about.
Well, I think it happened. I mean, it's pretty common that it happens to where you've got a dad that owns a business,
Mm-hmm.
Especially, and it seems in the graphics you see it a lot. I've seen a lot of times where their son comes in, and I think that's really good advice. I think, going in and just working your ass off, putting your head down, and don't give them anything to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And kudos to your dad for busting your chops on the time thing, because the long term of that, he starts letting you slide with shit like that.
Yeah.
They're just gonna tear your ass.
And again, I was being
young and dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was times I remember I was getting there at 7 a.m, wasn't leaving until 10:30 at night. Sure. I mean, when we started doing wraps, like I was the only installer. I had somebody helping me that I was trying to train, but then being the only one there installing, I mean, it's hard to find time to train. I mean, even now still, it's hard to find time to train because you still need to get jobs out the door. You need to get customers their vehicles back.
You say that about training. So you host a training at your place, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we host Avery training classes and their certification exams. Have a couple of other ones that I'm trying to see if we can get some classes hosted there. But
nice. Other brands?
Other manufacturers.
Nice, cool.
So we'll see how all that goes. But
and not just wrap film for Avery, you're doing other classes as well, right?
We've done one window tint class.
Okay.
We haven't done any of the PPF training classes.
Gotcha.
So it's only been the color change and the digital print.
Gotcha.
For Avery.
That's still that's a I don't know how many classes a year you get, but
I think we did 4 this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
that's cool though.
Yeah.
And considering bringing more in, so that's exciting. So
yeah.
how does I haven't been to one of the classes down there. How does it work? I mean, you were saying that you've got that petition. Do you use a certain?
Yeah. So what we typically do is, since we know when the dates are going to be, we kind of build it into our schedule, and
Gotcha.
we'll have it a little bit lighter as far as on the wrap side and the PBF side, and we'll just, the easiest way for us to do it is just take that paint protection side and have them have the class there, and that way
Gotcha.
we'll, if we are keeping up with our schedule and everything, we're just all be on one side for the 2 days that we have the class.
Do you guys utilize that as far as like training your new guys? Like, do you,
Yes. Yeah.
So that's good. That's helpful, right?
Yeah.
So they get to a certain point, and then it's like, okay, well, we're going to have a class here in 3 months. When it comes through, you'll go through the program or whatever.
And a lot of the times too, and like how we've done it for the last 2 people that we've started training, is that was like, we'll bring them in, they'll start working like prepping, and I always tell them, like, this is the most important part of the process. Like, if you can't get prepping down to where you know that this vehicle is ready to be wrapped, then we need to kind of reevaluate, because
Sure, have you considered production?
don't be ragging on production.
No, I'm just saying.
No, I know.
Well,
No,
that was something else I wanted to ask you. I wanted to know, like, how, like, so you went to college. What did you go to college for?
So my first semester was an undeclared major.
Okay.
Then I kind of just dabbled in a couple different things, and like I said, I always knew that this is kind of a direction I was going in. So then I went into business, and was taking a like entrepreneurship class.
Gotcha.
And all this stuff. And I mean, I'm there. I'm thinking like, all right, I need to learn something that I can then bring over that's going to be valuable for
I would have thought like design would have been a good, you know what I mean? But and entrepreneurial, business management, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I did. I went in toward SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, and this was before I decided where I was going for school. But I went and toured it, and we're sitting there, we're going through all these meetings and like on the tour and everything, and they were like, all right, how many people are here for graphic design? Every single person raised their hand, and I looked around and I looked at my dad, and I was like, I don't think this is a good move for me, because I mean, I'm thinking about it like,
looks like we could probably find a designer.
No, but it's just like I don't know, just thinking about, all right, everyone is going for the same thing.
Sure.
And I'm thinking, like, in the back of my mind too, I'm thinking like long term, like if for whatever reason I decide that that's not something that I want, like I get into it and I decide, you know what, this isn't working out.
Sure.
I don't want to be out there trying to, not anything about any designers at all, but like just in just such a saturated market, kind of for employment. And so I decided that wasn't what I was going to do, and I was going to go. And that's
so you were open to all of it. It was just like kind of like a Kinko board. You're just like, all right, is this going to work over here?
Finding my but it's funny how everything works out. I mean, I went to Wingate University. That's where I met my wife, and
nice.
So I mean, I wouldn't have changed anything. So
that's cool. That's cool.
So, yeah.
So ever any window tint? I know you said that you did a window tint class there. Is that something you guys have implemented?
So we have 2 paint protection film installers besides myself now too, and one of them has done window tinting for 10 to 12 years.
Sure.
And so we don't really like advertise like, hey, come and get your car tinted. Like we don't want to kind of have just, I mean, that's just a whole different market,
for sure, honestly.
So if somebody comes in, they want paint protection film, they want their car wrapped, and they are wanting window tint as well, we'll do it as like an additional service. Or if somebody comes in and just asks like, hey, do you guys do window tint? Like, yes, we do, but we pretty much stick to just North Carolina legal, just to not have to deal with a lot of that stuff. So
when it comes to window tint and PPF, what films are your go-tos? What are you liking?
So for window tint, we're using Lumar.
Okay.
Paint protection film, we use Steck.
Okay.
Which we're actually one of 11 shops nationwide in their Black Label Installer program.
Okay.
Which is very cool. And
I
don't know if you've heard of it at all.
What is it?
Let me just pull up the description of it so I don't butcher it. But it's essentially
You may have Josh pull it up. Josh,
can
do
put-
you
yeah,
want to
you
pull
pull
up Black Label
Stack Black Label installer.
Stack Black Label installer?
So it was their way to differentiate
yeah.
shops for exceptional quality, things like that. And we're part of it's a program where you can only they have to reach out to you. You can't apply for it, anything like that, which is really cool.
So this is I'm seeing more.
This is very new.
Yeah,
too,
I was gonna
so.
say I'm seeing more of this like this. So like when we went down and we did the a GSWF class, as soon as you take the class, you become like a bronze installer. And then, as you buy film or as you progress, then you move up to, silver, gold, platinum, the whole thing. And we just ordered the SVG kit, the display. Same thing, right? So when you order it, they say, okay, now we know that you have access to buy and you're set up as a, they don't really call it a dealer anymore. It's more like a, whatever, like you said, it's like I was just saying that it's like a bronze level.
Yeah, like different levels.
Yeah. So they can kind of navigate through that.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just read this then.
Okay.
So Stack Black Label installers are recognized for excellence in a growing industry for exceptional customer service, quality craftsmanship, installations, and organization. Black Label installers provide complete peace of mind for any service you need. Clients and their vehicles receive a tailored world-class experience to ensure positive outcome and high-quality results through every step of the process. Steck USA's Black Label installers offer protection you can trust and are the pinnacle of quality the Steck network represents. It says search your installer locator for Black Label installer near you. Be assured that your car, truck, SUV, or other toys get the special treatment they deserve. So, and it says it's completed rigorous qualifications and ample experience in all Steck services they provide. So it's what I like about it too is it's not just install, right? It's the entire process. It's talking about customer service after the sale, and just being dedicated to quality on all of those. And that's something that I've been really big on, is just making sure that people understand what they're getting, understand the process. And
do you get special pricing?
Special pricing for this? We don't get special pricing, but there's some other benefits that we get. Yeah,
that's cool.
But no, it's also, I mean,
it's kind of an honor, really.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I got to be honest. I mean, I've been following some of these shops that are on this list for a good amount of time, and to be listed next to them was very surreal. To be
really,
yeah, for me. I mean, we're a small shop in
let's
Charlotte.
Go. So here's the list. Okay, so who
so
else?
that's just from our website, which we need to reword. But so yeah, there's Metropolitan Detail in Seattle.
Yeah, they're a big one.
Menard Premium Detailing.
PA. New Image, they're big, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know those guys. Who is that? I know who New Image.
Aeroworks is on there too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So they're another big one.
Yeah.
Who is?
And Parks Detailing is another shop locally in Charlotte, and they're on that list too.
Are they? And okay. So these are just. Well, you said detailing, so it could be. Doesn't necessarily have to be.
It's paint protection film installers. Yeah. But and they're doing it. They're doing it kind of territory based.
Okay.
Which is nice too, and I think I mean, the fact that it's something that you can't even really apply for, they have to reach out to you and invite you into it is pretty cool.
No, that is cool. It's neat, man. I'm watching a lot of these companies and like trying to listen and keep up with how they're, because forever the territory was the big, like the protection plan.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, we want to make sure that, we're protecting our dealers. Mm-hmm. But
which that's kind of fallen off in a lot of them, even that had the strongest like territory.
100%.
Things,
I mean, I think 3M is probably held on the longest and the hardest, but like, I don't necessarily, I mean, it might be even to a default, or to where it's bad. Like, it's not a good thing. You know what I mean? Because it's strange. I watch a lot of these smaller brands really grow, and I don't know if that's because, and you might have some good input on this. So, like, we're seeing more customers come in and ask for a Nosatech by name, TinyBot by name, Vinyl Frog by name, and that's odd.
I think that has a lot to do with social media and them leveraging that marketing.
So, do you think that that's coming from the manufacturer?
Yeah, I think it's coming from the manufacturer. Yeah,
I
mean, I can't take out my phone, open up Instagram without coming across a tech rep or TinyBot or some kind of ad. But I mean, that's just because I'm always looking at things within the industry
Me too.
But
yeah, Aura, I see that guy all the time. Like I hear his voice when I go to bed at night. It's fucking crazy. It's so distinct. Like it really is. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wish my voice was more distinct, I could pick him out of a crowd. I could.
Haunting your dreams.
Yeah, like he could just whisper, and then set your knifeless up and just pull the things. I can just, it's wild. But
yeah. But I mean, I feel like a lot of that took off with like the DIY space.
Sure.
Cheaper film or more affordable films that anybody can access. And I think that's been something that's, and I talked to Justin about this a couple of times when he's been in our shop for workshops and stuff, is like, I feel like we're the only industry that doesn't have like a professional line of products that only professionals can purchase. Like you think even in like the space of like Plastidip and things like that, like dipyourcard.com and all that stuff, like they have a line that you can only purchase as professionals.
Sure.
You think of construction and building equipment, stuff like that.
I think 3M's the closest one because they don't. I mean, as far as like their personal automotive, Color Change is funny because it kind of falls somewhere in between. Like the Fellers and the Grimcos of the world can carry it, but like as far as paint protection film and window tint, you have.
Oh yeah, window tint especially with 3M.
Yeah, they do not mess around.
They don't.
Like, it's a very specific, but it's funny because it's like if that's not being communicated to the end user, how the hell would they know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're not. So, but I think that those other companies have done a really good job of getting to the end user and getting it in their head. I mean, like I said, we're seeing more of it.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one thing I do like about Steck is they do a lot to protect their customers, which is shops.
Okay.
As far as like if you were to call them and ask about pricing of their film and stuff, like you have to fill out an application to purchase a film. Like they're not going to tell them any pricing over the phone. So if your customer goes and calls, like wants to find out how much a roll of film is, things like that.
Yeah.
They also, I mean, they've done a lot to support installers and their, I haven't taken one of their training classes.
I've heard they're a joke, and when I say that, that's no shade on them. I've just heard that they're real basic. Is what I've heard. You know what I mean? Like real.
Well, I know they started rolling out an advanced one with Philip from Aeroworks too. So
okay, that one's probably not a joke.
Yeah,
that one's probably for real.
But
it's probably a good one.
I guess. But yeah, so I mean, I haven't had any complaints with using their film and everything like that too.
No, their PPF is it's pretty strong.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's weird because they're like in that mid range right now. I mean in the PPF space, I would they're up at the top probably, but closer to the top. But as far as like a business, you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't. It's strange. It's like Expel, right? They shot up there. It seemed like it was like overnight. All of a sudden, it was like they were like the most relevant PPF brand on the market.
Marketing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's just strange how that works. How you would think like even your average person like on the street, they don't really know Avery or Orifel or you know what I mean. So something they got to be reached somehow. Anyway, it just seems like a hot topic right now that. It's been on my mind a lot here lately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you guys are in a good situation too because you're not. I mean, you're using all films, right?
Yeah. I mean, I try to stay away from the calendared.
Okay.
And like the hybrid calendared stuff, just because I haven't had good experience with it lasting on our customers' cars, and I want to have the peace of mind of one, doing a quality install, which I mean, I've used it. I can make it work and everything, but
it's a little challenging though.
No, it's hard. I mean, it's tough. It's a lot harder, especially if, I mean, I'm spoiled. I've only used cast film when I started out. I mean, I didn't, and there's a lot of people who've been installing longer than me, and they started out with calendared. I'm sure you did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, like just the worst shitty, just non-airy grass, like sign material, just cutting letters and smashing it on and making some quick cash. It's the game. When did you take Justin's class? Or have you ever taken an Avery class?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I took the Avery class at Miller Decals in 2017. And I took the certification exam there too.
Who was your instructor?
Justin.
Yeah. Was he doing zero stretch, wrap matrix, that sort of stuff?
No, that was all within like the last couple of years.
Yeah. Have you done any of that?
Yes. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's awesome. Yeah. I mean, he was teaching a class at our shop, and it was before he came out with the videos on the Wrap Institute on it. He was like, I want to show you something. I was like, okay. And he's like, come and help me with this rear bumper in the class. I was like, okay. And he kind of explained it to me what we were doing, and I was just like, he's like, does it make sense? I was like, not really, but I see where you're
did he tell you the names? Did he say like
zero stretch?
This is zero stretch, and this is going to be the wrap matrix. Yeah. You know, it just threw me way off.
Oh yeah. I mean, and as soon as we did that, and I mean, I came over, explained it to one of our installers, and they kind of looked at me like I had 5 heads, and I was like, Justin, you need to explain this again. And he's like, just watch the videos when they come out. I was like, all right. So we watched some of them and stuff. And I mean, I won't do a bumper
any other way. I know.
I mean, we did, especially, and we were talking about it. And he's like, the nastier the film, the better it works.
When I had him on the podcast, I asked him. I was like, he made a comment. He said we were at Miller's, and he made a comment. He said it was like calendared
could be better.
It could be better. Yeah, the way he said it was just, and it was like, I remember we were doing the competition car, and I kept telling myself, he said it could be, this could be better, and it was cool, but the names just messed me up, and I hate it because like I'm really into names. Like I like a good name, you know what I mean? And I don't think either one of those names do the system or the technique any justice whatsoever. Because as soon as you see it, if you know what's like you don't even, I guess, if you've wrapped before and you see it happen, it's like, oh shit.
Yep.
Damn, there it is. And I don't know what else you would call it to make it make more sense, but it's pretty cool.
I think the best way that he described it when he was showing me, it was like, I mean, and it's always been like any technique where you're using the material. The best way I can describe it is like using the material against itself, right? Like using what the material is going to do to just make it go where you want it.
Right.
And he was talking about when you're heating it, you're acting like the heat gun is the squeegee. And so just getting it to just shrink around instead of pulling it. And I mean, especially with like some of those, like with Orgal, with how aggressive it is in its initial tack, you're sitting there, you got like, even, I mean, if you're by yourself, you're trying to stretch a front bumper across there, like you're fighting it the entire time.
Yeah.
Like you're sweating. And
tack reducer? You a tack reducer guy?
On larger panels, yes. On something like a front bumper, it just makes me nervous as far as like with just how many edges and everything. So
not even like spray a rag, wipe a little bit here or there.
I mean, if in some cases I do, but typically with like where there's a lot of cuts and a lot of like trim that needs to be worked around and stuff, I just kind of
leave it alone. Yeah. Fight it if you have to, if it's a little stickier. Yeah. When you were at Red Eye, did you ever see the
wrap wax?
Yeah. It's good stuff.
I might still have a bottle of that in my garage.
Yeah, that's cool.
That stuff worked awesome though.
Oh yeah. It's the real deal. Like, And that guy was, I think he's from Burlington. I'm pretty sure he makes that stuff in his basement. Like this is a little bottle, a little flip top thing on it.
Better than some of the other stuff you could be making in your basement in
That's
Burlington.
true.
So
Yep. It's true. Noted, kids. Don't do drugs. But that's funny. That's cool. Yeah, I figured with you being there that you probably he probably
we did it on all the roofs of the race cars.
Yeah. Well, I just meant Justin being at your shop. I figured.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You getting that hands on, like working with him. Like I figured
that was really cool.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, like I said, like we use it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I like it too. I like getting to hear him talk about it because it's Rayner. So when I went down and did the GSWF, Rayner was our instructor. Rayner's he's a different breed. Yeah. He's on he might be like an alien or something. I'm serious. He's like we did these PPF demos where he was taking like say if you were gonna fill a bottle, you're gonna make a slip solution.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of slip agent are you using and how much of it are you using?
So we measured out with a like children's medicine syringe, and we use 7th generation soap, and we use RO water. We have a RO water system in our shop.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah. So just trying to eliminate as much contamination as possible with it. We also have air filtration systems.
That's nice too.
All around our shop in production by our printers, in installation bays, and definitely over on the paint protection side.
Right.
So,
but you're just talking just a couple milliliters when that set. I don't know what.
Yeah, I messed around with. It took me a while. Like I was asking a couple different installers, especially about like tax solutions and stuff, alcohol versus no alcohol, things like that, and. I think it was Sergey from New Layer.
I want the sweet stuff. Tell me the juicy stuff.
Yeah, give me. But I was reaching out to him. I'm like, "What are you using for slip?" He said, "Honestly," and he's like, "Honestly, you just need to just mess around with it and just find what works best for you." Some people like the two guys I have at the shop installing PPF, they like a lot more soap. I don't like a lot of soap because again. If I squeeze you down, I want
you talking or him talking? This is you talking.
This is me talking now, but I talk. He was saying you just need to mess around with it, and people.
Did he give you an idea of his preference one way or the other?
I don't recall that he actually did. But he's like, you just need to find what works for you, and then I did that. I found what works for me, and that's how I trained the guys that I have, and they kind of came up with what works for them. So I have it. I don't remember the exact measurement.
Of course you don't.
I'm sorry, but I have it marked out like permanently on the syringe.
Just say you don't want to share.
But I will say if you haven't used 7th generation soap, you should try it.
Yeah. Is it a detail?
It's a dish soap. It's 7th generation free and clear. So there's no dyes or anything. It's all plant based too. It flushes out with tack so much easier than like Johnson & Johnson or anything like that. I have I did get some of the ape solution. I've tried that out a little bit too, but I kind of like to stick to what I know.
Sure.
I mean, I haven't messed around with it enough to be like, oh yeah, like I'm definitely gonna.
It's pretty good.
No, it is. I mean, I have liked it, but again, I just need to use it a little more.
Sure. And then tack, are you
tack just straight water? Straight water.
Yeah.
If we're trying to do like something with like crazy wrapped edges or something like that, I might add a little bit of alcohol. Sure. I mean, we always try to wrap as much as we can, but
any hot water?
Yes, hot water for sure.
Yeah,
especially if you need to pick something back up.
Sure. Spray system, you just old school spray.
So we have one of the kegs for tack. We just use the spray bottles. And then we have the pump sprayers. The guys like using that because they like changing their water out a lot.
Sure.
Too, so.
Yeah. Like the K1 ones, those things are killer.
It's
K1, I think.
I can't remember.
You know what I'm talking about? The black and white ones?
Yeah, the black and white ones, yeah. Why can I not remember the name? I can't remember the name of anything today.
That's all right. It's probably because the cameras are watching.
Oh, yeah. But no, we actually, they have 3 different sizes of them. all the way up to like a liter,
Mm-hmm.
and the bigger one was like too bulky,
Sure.
kind of for a handheld
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
to be like spraying on there. But
Yeah, there is a sweet spot somewhere in
yeah,
there where it's
yeah.
like,
So, but I'll have to let you know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it
just let
was.
me know.
I'll look it up. But that's been great as far as using that.
so Logan Moody, he's like the lead trainer for 3M
Mhm.
on PPF Space. And he tells this story about a guy up in Canada. It's like one of his mentors. He really looks up to him, and he's like using like a ton of soap. So
Mhm.
like 50 milliliters per, or
Mhm.
yeah, per liter. Just like like you would never use
Yeah.
that much. So when we first started going through the like, they do like the train the trainer program where you have to go up and they teach you how they want you to teach, and he made that like that's kind of like his reference to like, okay, a lot of people recommend maybe 1 or 2 milliliters. There's pro guys out there that can use up to 50. So it's not like, it's kind of like what you were saying. Like
Yeah.
it's a find your space, right? Like if you're more comfortable here, just, play in that space. If you want to go.
Yeah.
But whenever he said it, when people say stuff like that, I just kind of roll with it. Like, oh, okay, like maybe this is just part of his training spiel, and just kind of roll on. And like, not that it's a lie, it's just like, it's not really relevant to me because I'm never going to do that. Like that's kind of where I was at in my head. And Rainer did this demo, and he was asking everybody. He was like, okay, so how much do you use? And just 1 or 2. Okay, 1 or 2. Put it in his thing. Show a demo. That's okay. And then he's like, what about you? And he, like a little more, maybe 5 or 6. And okay, do the demo. Oh, okay, that's okay. He said, what about 20? And everybody's like, I would never use 20. Well, let's try it, and he does the demo, and it's like,
See, like he does like using a lot of soap, doesn't he? Or
oh,
no?
like a crazy amount. So at the end of his demo, he ends up taking the ape solution, and he's like, what about no water? Everybody's like, come on, man. Like, don't do it. We don't even want to see it, dude. They don't even have it. And he was like, well,
You walk away after you squeegee everything off. It's gonna fall off the car.
it's for we're testing.
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens. And he pours it on there out of the bottle, flips the ape solution bottle upstairs, and just squeezes it out on the hood. Lays a piece of film over it, squeezes out. Looks perfect. There's no moisture. There's nothing. Like it looks perfect. And what he was trying to teach was that when you're trying to get moisture out, moisture is the problem. It's not the solution that you're putting in there. The solution just creates a barrier and it makes it easier to get out. And dude, that kind of changed my whole perspective on PPF, like especially clarity. And I would run into little issues where you would see some hazing and just different little things. It was just I'd tack up on me, especially if I do one side and I have to go to do the other side. Maybe I didn't get a good spray or something. I would see those, but it seems like that's it's starting to sound like maybe the Canadian guy might have been onto something. Like 50. From watching him do his little demo, it's like maybe it's not that much. Maybe it's not that bad.
And I think it just goes back to like it's just what you're comfortable with
Sure.
working with. I
But
mean, if you're
like you said though, like if like we're coming from the rap perspective, right, and stepping into that, so it's like we want it to stick.
yeah.
But these guys, it's like they're, I don't know. It's a wild thing to think about using that much soap and it holding.
And I mean, there's different like for me at least, like I'll change how much soap I'm using depending on the car or the part of the car that I'm doing too. Like if there's we've done a lot of the Ford GTs, and like the quarter panel where it like has a big hump and it kind of goes up over to the roof and then down behind the wheel. Like I'll use a lot more soap on that than I will on the rest of the car, just because I know I need that time to be able to move and work.
Bulking that?
No, we use just straight. Well, I always edit every pattern that we do for more coverage.
Gotcha.
So
what pattern software?
Core.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. That's cool.
Yep. But and like I said, like different installers, different preferences.
Sure.
Like one of our installers, he's always like, can you give me like a tab on the front corners of the fenders so that I can hook that and I can just trim it. I'm like, let's see how it goes. Like I never for some reason even thought of doing that, and it's awesome. You can get full coverage on the front corner of the fender easy.
Yeah.
And not have to have to worry about trying to slide it into that corner and get it to just line up.
The opposite. You're getting it hooked and then
Yep.
probably pulling back off of it.
Yeah.
Some, yeah. No, that's cool. That's good. Yeah, I like the fact that even though the most core is pretty good, but all the design software is like being, or not design, the pattern software is being able to go in and do some minor editing.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. I mean, it's cool. I like it. 3M's got a new one coming out. It's
Yeah.
I think it's live right now. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know how much I'm supposed to talk about it. Like maybe I'll tell you about it once the cameras are. You got it. But no, there's like it's of course it's a pattern software, right? So it's a lot like the others, but I think they're thinking a little bit more long term and like how they can kind of disrupt that space a little bit and offer something that hasn't really been. I don't know of anybody else that's doing it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And they needed a revamp. I don't know. Well, you started at Star Shield, right?
Yeah, used. It's been a while since I've used any 3M software.
Yeah.
It's been years.
What about film?
I gotta be honest. I've never really been a fan of the film, but it's just
The Scotch Gal stuff.
yeah. I mean, and with some of their the early editions of the Pro Series and things like that. I mean, maybe it was I was newer to installing PPF, but I just was never really a fan.
Sure.
So not saying anything bad about the film, but just
It sounds like you're not saying anything good about the film. Like,
why you got to do that?
No, it was tough. Like that early Scotch Gal stuff,
yeah.
it was tough. It was a hard install. It was thick, you know. And so yeah, no, I remember. I mean, for some stuff it worked fine, but it was no, their new stuff is good. It's they're launching a 100, 150, and 200, and so
I saw that. Yeah.
all three are new. So
Okay.
pretty stoked about that. Should be, hopefully, you know, you can
a little bit.
a little bit better.
Yeah.
You know, because I hear it a lot.
So are they using traditional like pattern techniques? Or are they doing anything with like 3D scanning, or is it, you can even talk about?
Yeah, so the guy, I think this is pretty common knowledge, or public knowledge maybe. I'm pretty sure the pattern designer, when Expel sold, I think it's the guy that owned Expel's son. I think he's the new pattern designer for 3M. He's been there for a few years. Yeah, he's cool as hell. He lives down in Texas. But yeah, they're doing all of it, anything. I mean, they hired in some new pattern designers. I mean, it's tough to compete with Expel and Lumar. Lumar's, I mean, they're crushing it right now.
Yeah.
They're, you know, but yeah, they're doing a little bit of everything. They're trying out all of it. I mean, they're trying to stay on top of it.
I don't think people realize the amount of work that goes into building a database like that too.
For sure.
And just how many different trim levels there are, how many trim pieces there are on cars and things like that.
Well, you guys are scanning now, right?
So yeah, we have a 3D scanner, and we're making our own templates where we need to. But like we've had the core design team come out and pattern cars. Like if we get a car in, there's no patterns for it in the software, we'll reach out to them. They've been out there a couple of times. They actually scanned and made patterns for the entire underside carbon panels on the 4GT.
Oh, that's cool.
And the carbon wheels too. So that was insane.
A guy, Eric. What was Eric's last name? He came into town, and they brought in two pattern guys when Lumar started sponsoring Hendrick. And
Eric, was it Kimple?
No. God, what was his name? I'll think of it here in a minute. A little short, stocky guy.
Okay.
Super cool biker, like bicycles, not motorcycles. But he, God, I can't think of his name. I'll think of it here in a minute. But he was a big part of that program or whatever when they came in with, to Hendrick, and it was cool. We got to see them use the scanner, and they brought in their pattern design guy, and they were.
So was Roger there with the scanner? Yeah, he's an awesome guy too.
And he did some traditional pattern making too. You know, it wasn't just a scanner, but I think at the time there were two guys, and one was like I think it was Roger was all in on the scanner, and then the other guy was more traditional.
Yeah.
And so it was like,
Well, they do both, and they'll
like
they're
incorporate
actually
the two
yeah.
together.
So they're going back and scanning a lot of older cars too, like classic cars, things like that, and those are all just 3D scanned because they're trying to just get some of those patterns in there.
Well, at least
And-
get you close, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. And
but for you guys, how accurate is it? Do you like
I mean,
it?
it's accurate. I mean, we have if you want to pull up our Instagram again, we got a pretty cool one. We did where Mike laid out flames on a
I remember seeing
Mustang Mach 1,
Telling
and
you,
we
dude.
scanned it, flattened it. We're able to design right to what was laid on the car, and everything fit. Like it fit right around the emblem, lined up from the hood to the fender.
And all that was just from the scan. You
All that was scanned, yeah.
yeah.
And
You have to edit some, make some little adjustments, some tweaks here or there.
so I mean, a lot of it comes in with like where you're flattening it. It gets a little tricky.
Sure.
But
Yeah, that's where we had issues was converting it.
yeah. And accounting for, I mean, I think the most difficult thing was like, especially when we've tried to make like paint protection patterns for when we're using the 3D scanner is getting the accounting for stretch,
And
which when you're installing. So
they're a little pricey, aren't they?
the scanners, yes, they are.
And then the software.
Software is very expensive too.
Oh, so, yeah.
Yeah. But we're using it for a lot more than just that. I mean, we've scanned for paint protection film. We're doing wrap stuff like that. And then Mike's doing some other stuff with it. Too,
Top secret stuff. Is
Yeah.
it off the camera stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah. So it's definitely a really really cool tool to have and be able to utilize and do some cool stuff with.
What's Mike's day to day look like? Is he super active? Is he?
Yeah, he's in the shop every day.
Yeah.
He does a lot with. I mean, he's good at making sure everybody's getting stuff done.
Right.
But always, I mean, he's involved in everything. I mean,
Really?
he's trying to take a step back and kind of.
Sure.
And I think, I mean, he definitely deserves it. He's done nothing but work his ass off for 40 years. So, I mean, it's cool to kind of step into a role where I'm kind of running. I mean, I'm out running pretty much everything in the shop install related. I mean,
Nice.
I'm all over the place. Like when it comes to the shop, I'm in any day. I'll be in PPF vinyl production, talking with customers, doing quotes and stuff like that. So
You were saying your sister's involved too, right?
yes, yeah. She works up front in the office, does all of our communications. Well, not all of our communication, but most of our communication with customers, scheduling appointments, things like that, and
Gotcha.
invoicing.
Older
sending
or
out
younger?
quotes. Older.
Older. Nice.
Yep.
No, that's cool.
My mom is there too.
Really?
So all four of us are there. Yep.
No, that's
Which brings an interesting dynamic. But
Does it?
Yeah. I mean, it's great. It's awesome that we're all there working, and I mean, there's a lot of people that don't even get to see their family
right.
that often at all, and I mean, it definitely brings its challenges for sure.
Sure.
But it's fun, and it's great to all be there. So
I got to get down there, man. I've seen pictures of the place, and it's beautiful. Like the whole rock, you know.
oh,
around
the pond out front,
dude,
Yeah.
everything. The whole. I mean, it's a nice shop. Like,
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys done an excellent job.
Thank you.
And I've only heard good stuff about it. You know what I mean? Like you guys being where you're at, as far as we're located. Like I'm surprised of how many people I've known that have worked there and worked with you guys. And it's funny that I didn't know that you worked at Red Eye.
Yeah.
I think feel like I should have known that. That's crazy. But
But yeah, we've had a lot of people come through over the years, and but yeah, it's been fun. It's been one hell of a ride.
are you contracting much? Are you?
We don't. I don't. I try not to,
Sure.
just because, and not saying that all contract guys are like this at all.
Sure.
But like, I would rather have somebody in house that is going to put out the best quality that they can, not come in, blow through it, and run out to the next job.
Right.
So I like to keep it in house. I mean, if we need the help, we need the help,
Sure.
and I have some of the guys that we call and come and help us.
Sure. There's plenty of them around.
Yeah.
There's
Oh yeah.
plenty.
And there's a bunch of great installers that do
really are.
contract work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our area it's crazy how many people are in our area that rap. Makes it easy for the podcast because there's rap related people close by that I can holler at to come in.
Yeah.
I just talked to TJ. Does
TJ
from
up in Raleigh?
Yeah,
Kessel?
Alchemy.
Alchemy Raps?
Alchemy. Yeah. So you two know each other?
Yeah. He did some work for us with a pest control company that we had a ton of reps.
Well, I remember at RapsCon, weren't you two?
His we went to RapsCon and his partner for Rap Olympics had to drop out for whatever reason.
Gotcha.
We wound up. I was like, I just need some tools, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
But so since RapsCon, I hadn't talked to him, and I just talked to him the other day. It was pretty crazy. Seems like he's doing good. So
good. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's a great guy too.
Well, and Ken, right? Like the whole Ken thing. Like I didn't realize it's so funny how, like I said, I've never met Ken before, but he talked highly of you guys, and he knows TJ well, and I've never met Ken before.
Yeah,
it's the first time.
Like I said, it's crazy how small the world is.
For sure,
it's kind of scary sometimes.
It really is. Like because you just pop up, and it's like all of a sudden there's like everybody's knowing each other.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's pretty nuts, but I think I like seeing the videos that you guys are putting out.
Thanks.
Especially with seeing the growth, because it's when I see, because like commercial was I wanted to ask that. Most of the stuff that I see, most of the content that I see you guys putting out is more on the 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 customized side, right? Like, so I'm seeing color changes, I'm seeing PPF, not seeing a ton of the commercial.
So
how does the business break up as far as like percentages? Are you think you're 50-50 or?
So definitely more heavily commercial than color change. We do a lot of paint protection film too. So the majority of our content on our social media has been paint protection film lately, and then the couple of color changes that we've posted. I'm trying to get more things posted with commercial.
Gotcha.
And that's definitely a goal to be on there. And it's cool too. So we never had anybody to do social media or take videos or, we had a couple of like local photographers come and take some pictures for us and things like that, but never anybody on staff. And we have someone on staff now.
That's cool.
We actually just, when we first started, like the first video that we posted with someone on staff was a matte conversion on a Lamborghini Urus. But that, he just went back to school, and so we just hired someone new. And so, just trying to keep that up, because it was kind of crazy how people that have been our customers for a while are just coming up to us, like if we're at Cars and Coffee or something, like, dude, we love your videos that you're posting now, and everything. And it's cool. And it's been, it used to be just me finding time, taking pictures with my iPhone and posting. And it just, when we started getting busy and we had more employees, it was just something that wasn't sustainable for me to do.
Yeah.
And, but it's been great, and it's something that I'm excited to kind of see progress and just have more of a like professional presence online too.
Sure.
So, but we actually had there's some videos on there of commercial, and those people that came in, they're like, "Can you guys make a video like of our rap like event?" Which is it's cool to see. People want to see that in the process and everything. So. Definitely want to try and get more of that out there on the commercial side for sure.
Having somebody on staff, that makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because realistically, they're paying you to do a rap, not a video. So it's like how you can't really but when they ask for it, it's like you almost feel like you have to.
Yeah.
We ran into it with some race shops. When we first started going into race shops, they were like, you can't even bring your phone. Well, yeah,
You can't take a picture at all.
Nothing. And then through
surprised they didn't make us check our phones at the door.
Yeah, they did. I can remember there were times where they were like, just leave it in the car. Just don't even take it in. Just leave it in the car to avoid all of it.
Yep.
And towards the end, towards the end of COVID, because of COVID, I guess, it just, and everybody became more open to it. You know what I mean? It got to the point to where teams were asking, you know, Josh, hey, like, are you gonna film today? You gonna get some videos? You know, make sure you tag us, make sure you share them with us and everything. And it was like completely.
What do you mean?
Yeah, like, this is a completely different.
Is this
deal.
a trap?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
it's kind of cool though.
yeah, that's because I mean you see it now too. Like a lot of race teams are doing like time lapses of wraps and things like that, and that's something you never saw.
Never,
unless it was like a specific car, which was typically the promotional car,
Yeah,
not
like
even
a
the
show
actual.
car.
Yeah. And not in the shop.
No, they
Yeah.
couldn't show the shop,
No,
right? Like
not
all the
at all.
secrets were
Yeah.
there, but the sport's changed a lot. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys do much racing stuff?
We don't do too much racing stuff.
No.
I mean, we just we've done a couple. I think we did like the throwback series when they did like the definitely nothing like NASCAR level, but like when they did like the throwback race and like everybody's putting all these old school like,
Right.
Stuff on their cars. We did a couple of those, did some drift cars, but not too much to that level
Gotcha.
at all.
Are you into that at all? The drifting? You said you were into cars. Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And I haven't kept up with it much. I mean,
Sure.
past couple of years have been a little bit of a wild ride, having a kid and all of that, just kind of finding everything, trying to.
How's that going? You enjoy being a papa?
I love it. I love being a dad.
Yeah?
He's so cool, man.
Yeah.
He is so cool. He's
That's
going to be
awesome.
2 in October, and I can't believe he's going to be 2 already. But yeah, he's awesome. I love that little guy.
So, third generation. What about your sister? Does she have any kids?
She does not. Not
No
yet.
kids. Okay. So, but this is third generation.
Yeah.
Third generation. So there's a chance, you know, that he could.
If he wants to, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if he wants to.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
It's cool to see.
And that was the other thing too, kind of circling all the way back to the beginning. Like none of this, another thing I'm very grateful for, none of this was like pushed on me at all from my dad. He was just like, if you want to be a part of it, awesome. If you don't, that's fine. And I think that was kind of what like pulled me in more. Because
Really?
I feel like if it was someone like you need to come into this and you need to be working here kind of thing, I'd be like, yeah, no. But no, that was it's cool to know that I'm where I'm at because I want to be there, not because I was pushed in that
Forced
direction
into it,
or
yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah, we just had Tanner on, and he was telling stories about how like he wanted nothing to do with it, like zero. He wanted to play music. You know what I mean? Like the last thing on his mind was doing graphics, and now it's like he's finally like made the choice. Like, hey, look, this is going to be my career. His dad owns like one of the biggest graphics companies on the East Coast for sure. But maybe I don't know where they stand, but they're huge. You know. And
Is it TDS?
TDS, yeah. And he doesn't work there. He doesn't have anything to do with it. Doesn't want anything to do with it. I mean, there's nothing bad. It just he's an independent installer. And he works a lot with Molly and at Rap Artist, but yeah, he's just doing his own thing. You know what I mean? So it's wild to see. You know, that's why I asked that earlier about your dad, like the I'm sure that it comes with challenges. I've worked with my dad some, and it's tough.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's why even like the day-to-day stuff, you know, I wondered, because my dad will call me and give me a hard time, and he has no fucking clue what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your dad knows what you're doing. And,
Yeah.
you know, I can, but he seems pretty laid back. Your pop does. He doesn't seem like he's, you know, too high strung. And
I mean, I feel like we all have our moments, right?
Sure,
but
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, like you said, it definitely comes with its challenges, and it's always tough to like. There's times where like, I mean, things are said that would never be said to like an employee, right? And stuff like that, but not like anything terrible. But it's just there's that different level, and like you expect more from yourself, and then you expect more from them.
Sure,
and
even
things like that. So
even
it's
him
just,
telling you like being 2 minutes late again, you're
Yeah.
fired. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
he wouldn't say that to like a regular employee. I'm sure there's like a process for
Yeah.
that, right? Like you write them up or something. I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe it is. Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm just grateful for how everything
How it
has
played out.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the future look like?
Future,
You said it add more training classes.
yeah, I want to have some more training classes from different manufacturers, just to kind of get more of the. I mean, I love seeing all the trainers come in and talking to them.
That's gotta be
getting to-
cool.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, getting to like spend some time with them after the classes and things.
Avery's got some good ones too.
Yeah.
You got Charlie and Blake and
Charlie is funny as hell,
Yeah.
man. He is a funny guy. John hasn't come to our shop yet, though.
No.
So I'm wondering if he's going to be coming next year or not. But
Sure.
but we'll see. So more training classes and wanting to. I mean, like I said, we have a lot of young staff, a lot of guys. I'm excited to see how they're progressing and kind of me not having to be involved in every part of it. I mean, they're like paint protection film was always something like we didn't have anybody else to do.
Gotcha.
And so now I have these two guys, Max and Justin, and they're doing a phenomenal job.
Really?
Like we were out, we sponsor Waxaw Coffee Cruisers too. It's a car meet, very, very early on Sunday. It starts at 7:30.
Jeez.
But we were sponsoring that. We had one of our customers came out with a CT5V Blackwing that we did full PPF on, and one of our other customers, that the guy that's all into the dirt cars and stuff I was talking about, my buddy, he was out there with his car that we just wrapped, and he was like, "Man, that Cadillac is sick." I was like, "Yeah, go look at it. Tell me what has film on it." And he walked around it, and he's like, "Is the whole thing done?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, He's like, "That looks incredible." I was like, "You know the best part?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "I didn't touch that car at all."
Really?
And so that's like the fact that they're doing that, and that's something that I'm able to kind of take the time to get more training in on vinyl side, or get more work done with things that I want to. There's always stuff that has to be done behind the scenes.
Sure.
That seems like there's never enough time in the day for. So being able to, I want to be able to get the right people in the right place to make that happen, so that I can make things more efficient and build like a just keep building into our team.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm very grateful for the team that we have.
Yeah.
We have a great group of people right now.
Well, Mike, I appreciate it, dude. I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah.
I think what you guys are doing is awesome. The scanning thing, dude. I think that's the future. When I think about the future, like technology like that, like that shit's exciting. I love seeing the content. No, it's cool. And you're not too. How far of a drive was it for you? It's not too far. Right?
Well, I came from Concord today, so it was an hour 20 minutes. So it's like an hour 40 from my house. Yeah,
that's what I thought. So not bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah.
But no, I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, man.
It's great talking to you. I loved hearing some of the stories and getting to hear a little bit more about the background, where you came from. You know, I think it's.
Thanks for having me out here.
Yeah, of course.
I do want to actually talk about your knife tucker.
Let's go.
Because
unless it's bad,
it's not bad. No, it's
I
actually
talk
good.
About it.
No, right, I got to be honest. When you gave me one of them, I was like, I'm never gonna use this thing.
Really?
I was like, how much am I actually gonna use this?
Sure.
And so I put it on my knife, and dude, I have used the shit out of that thing.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
Well, that's good.
All the time.
So you like it?
I got to change it out because it is worn out.
Good.
But yeah, I do really like it.
So we were talking earlier. You've got the tie-dyed ones, right?
Yeah.
And so now I want to get your feedback. I gave you a set of red ones. Try them out, burn them up.
Yeah.
I think the red ones are so much better. The plastic compound we're using for them is just a little bit more flexible.
Yeah. I mean, I've always, I got to say that I've always kind of liked like the stiffer, like tuck tools and things like that, but not like where it's like almost a plastic razor blade.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, I'm interested to try it out.
The flexibility of it, I think we're working on doing some thinner ones. I think so. Originally, we didn't want anybody to have any issues with the thickness of it, right?
Yeah.
We were scared, like, if we went too thin, people would bust through it, and then it's our fault. They're going to blame it on us, and regardless of anything else. Like, I don't know how I guess I do know how. So, like the WrapOn, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good tuck tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great tuck tool. But you got to be careful because it'll cut.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a cut tool. It's not just a tuck tool, you know? But I guess it's because it's two sides. You know, you got one side's a little thicker and harder.
And if you like are trying to use it as a cut tool and it jumps and you're on like a trim or anything too, I mean, you got to basically treat it when you're using it like you got to treat it like it's a knife still.
Exactly. And so that's what I was afraid of. And like the marketing for this thing, like how do you communicate that in such a way that, so I was like, all right, we're just going to make ours a little bit thicker. That way we don't have to worry about it. It's a little bit more rounder. And so we'll get there. We'll get there to where we've got a couple different versions of it, you know, that make it cool. But I just switching the like, I think that a lot of people don't know that. Like when you're talking about especially a new product, it's like you don't really want to fuck with it too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you need to let people use it
and get feedback.
Right. Make sure they like it, you know. So I do appreciate you saying that. You know, I didn't pay him to say it either.
No, he did not.
That was genuine. I was gonna shut it down. He stopped us. So no, I'm proud of it. I think we've gotten a lot of really good feedback on it. So I'm happy. I look forward to the future of it. How do you like the Darth Vader?
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty sick, right?
I don't know how I didn't notice that at first, to be honest.
So I printed it. Originally, it was going to hold the rings. I was trying to like do like a Lord of the Rings thing, and it just didn't. So I wasn't here when it came off the printer, and Josh brought it down and put the knife in his hand, and I was like, "That's
staying like that.
That's too perfect, dude." That's so.
That's awesome.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you coming. It was great. Yeah. So
awesome.
Cool. Lambert? Yeah. We good? All right, let's go.